Hi guys, welcome back to another reaction video here on Our Eyes Your Eyes. I'm ready to watch episode 9 of this second season of Made in Abyss. But before starting this video, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, leave a like to support me, and feel free to join me till the end of this masterpiece in order to see what's coming next. Look, in the previous episode, Weko ended her storytelling about everything that happened inside that village and how it was created. Let's see what's going to happen now, because we know that Reg was going to meet Faputa and ask her for help. Are you ready to join me with this? Check it out. Oh my. I think this is the last time that I'm going to laugh like this. See? What? Come on, Reg, don't you remember anything? Eh, because you don't remember the promise, Reg. What's that? Oh, the interference unit. Beasts, yo. What does Sosu mean? I'm so curious. Okay. Come on, Rico, talk to Faputa. Eh. Come on, Rico. Yeah, you have the chance to meet her and talk to her. Is Faputa jealous of Rico? Maybe because she sees that she's staying always next to Reg, so... Oh! Prushka. Yes and no. Maybe, yeah, because it's attracting, yeah, thanks to this man. So what do we have to do? Oh. No, it's better not to risk. Because Fabuta knows him. But what's the promise? Yeah. Yes! What I said! With the incinerator. And in fact now she's inside of the village. Haku, see? Haku is Rico in my opinion. I told you the incinerator. As much as he used it for Mitty. Yeah. Mm. The prince. Why, of course he recognized her. Yeah, they know everything. Mm. A little bit. Are we sure? Bondordo. Yeah, cause then to ascend it. And in fact, Rico is one of these. Yeah. Let's hear. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. I think he wanted to reach the bottom. Yeah. Ah, 150 years. Oh, she's thinking how to help them to go out. Yeah. She has to let the Faputa join. If Faputa will join, Faputa was born from the third cradle of desire, so I mean, after that, so it's incorporating even parts of them, parts of their souls, parts of their bodies. In fact, what's going to happen? Oh my. What's that? But this is the third sage. No? Ah, ok, Juroimo. Yeah, because it's coming from outside of the village, I mean. What? No, no, no. What are you doing to Echo? Leave her alone. As always. But can Ma-san join too? If one day it will be able to go out from the village, I would like to have her too. Yeah, I think the only one who can defeat Juroimo is Reg. Nobosu can let her go. Oh my! What the F? Oh no, especially that. Ugh. Yeah. Oh no. So what do we do now? Oh come on, Araika, use the incinerator. Oh. So now what's going to happen now? The only thing he can use is the incinerator. I still believe that. Oh no, no. Come on. Maybe. No, please don't tell me that Ueko has to sacrifice herself. Oh no, I would have liked that even Ueko would have joined them. That's right. Oh no, it's coming. Go away from there, Reg. Okay. Oh no, F away. Look, I was about to say, what about Rico? No, 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 no. No! It got Faputa. No, 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 no. I know that Faputa can't enter over there, but... Oh, what's going to happen now? Eh! But somehow I feel you, Reg. Yes! Shoot! Shoot! Also because Juroimo doesn't deserve anything. Yes! Oh yes, but now he is going to fall asleep. So, until Nanachi will be back, I think Riko will be alone by herself. There's Ma-san, but maybe there will be the chance for her to meet Fabuta and talk to her. No, you did something good. Yeah. Exactly. Maybe he can remember some things before sleeping. Definitely. He should ask Vasukian to do that, but here she is. Ooh. She's ready. Oh my. Whoa! That's why I'm saying. Ah, no, it was him. Oh. Oh. Wow. Yeah. Mm. Wow, look, in this case, Rico wants to talk, I guess. Yeah. But let's see how she will do that. I don't think she will, because Rico will talk to her for sure. Ah, that's Simon. Okay. Later I'm going to tell you. Oh yeah, because those are the brothers and sisters who couldn't survive. She's so cute. I really like Fabuta. Oh yeah, she regained this part of her body. And now Rico will stop her. Let's see. Oh no! No, Rico will stop her. Or something. Because Reg is falling asleep. Nanachi. Who's singing? Eh? No, what? What? Ah, okay, okay, maybe I understood. Okay, okay, no, I thought something else. But that was not a dream, that's reality, that's what happened. Isabella for singing? Okay, so Nana Chimedi saw him too. What? In fact, okay, guys, another incredible episode finished. First of all, I wanted to thank all of you guys that in the comments are creating conversation with me about these incredible episodes, because it's really nice. I have lots of fun, and you are suggesting me things that I wanted to discuss in the next episodes. So, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for all the new subscribers, and keep subscribing to the channel, because we are going to reach the end of this incredible second season, and let's see what's coming out next. It will be a movie, it will be a season 3, we will not know until we will reach the end of it. Even for this episode, I wrote some notes because there are so many things to discuss about, so I think it's better for me to start immediately. And I will analyze scene after scene as much as I can, so in the meantime you understand what I'm talking about. First of all, I wanted to talk about Reg and Faputa, because at the beginning of this episode we see them together and she keeps repeating the sauce as a word, and I still have to make my decision regarding the meaning of this thing. Is it friend? Is it comrade? Is it my dear or something like that? Because at the end of each sentence she keeps repeating the sauce, so I think that maybe it's a nice way for her to communicate with Reg, because we know how she is getting in touch with him so much, and we understand how much she likes Reg. So probably it's a way to say, oh my dear, it's fine, or oh my dear, come here, and stuff like that. But I still have to understand what's the real meaning of it, and probably we will never know, sincerely. Then I also noticed that Faputa, while she is talking to Reg, she feels itchy, of course, because of what happened. That means that she was deleting a part of her body to sacrifice it because Reg needs it. But at the same time, I noticed that she's eating insects while she's talking to him, and this reminds me a little bit when Irumyui, before creating the village, do you remember that she was eating those creatures that were flying and that were transforming some of their comrades of the Genja group because of the force field. So I remember this connection, sort of a connection between mother and daughter, that keeps reminding me that this relationship between mothers and daughters is still really important in Made in Abyss, and I think that it's creating lots of connections between characters too. I already talked to you about this in the previous episode, so go and check it out. You can find it on the channel. You see how Irumyui put all her efforts to create Faputa, and most of the times Faputa resembles her. I already told you since the first time I saw her, so I think that even this little thing can confirm you that she is Irumyui's daughter. And then she is saying, because Reg of course is asking her if she feels okay that after this sacrifice that she made, if she is hurt or not, she's responding that she's immortal, so he doesn't need to worry. But I was thinking, guys, if she's immortal, can you imagine, as much as I was telling you many times, if she is joining Riko, Reg and Nanachi, there is another chance for them to ascend the Abyss in the best way, because if Faputa is joining and if Faputa is immortal, they will definitely find a way, in my opinion, to climb up the abyss and to reach the surface once again. Because maybe Faputa knows how to not get in touch with the force field, or probably she reached a sort of knowledge, because you remember that Faputa was born after all the souls, all the bodies of the villagers were incorporated into Irumyuui. So if Faputa comes from Irumyuui, definitely she needs to collect even a part of their knowledge, probably. Even Vasukian was sacrificed, we know that. And what if Faputa, collecting all the knowledge of everyone, can also find a way that nobody else could regarding climbing it up? That would be so amazing. But the thing is, if she joins, they have another comrade, they have another source of knowledge, they have another way to climb the abyss. And I also noticed that she was really happy to see that Reg was worrying about her, because let's be honest, nobody cares about Faputa, or nobody is worrying about her. They are just afraid of her. That is quite different. It's been a long time since the last moment she was feeling that someone was worried about her, and that moment was when Reg in the past was meeting her and was staying with her, was making with her this promise. So I think that was really nice to see how Faputa, at the end of the day, is expecting to receive love or affection or dedication. And in fact, we see that Reg is always like this. Reg is always kind. Reg always wants to protect the other ones. He's always put others before himself. And let's talk about these too, because I'm wondering, is this part of his instinct? Or once he will recollect all his memories, we will understand that Reg, on the contrary, doesn't care about anybody. That Reg probably is totally the opposite from what we think. Because throughout this adventure, you see that Reg is always kind to everyone, that he always wants to protect Riko, he always wants to protect Nanachi, he always wants to protect the people who are in danger or people who are suffering in that present moment. So what if there is even this huge plot twist that once he will remember everything that he missed, that he forgot, we get in touch with a different Reg. I still remember when he was losing his control in the movie, and he was now taking care of who he had in front of himself. He completely lost his mind. That's why I'm quite scared of this. But at the same time, I really like Reg because of this quality he has, that no matter if he remembers or not what Faputa is saying, he is really worrying about her. As if Reg instinctively knows that there is a relationship between the two, but at the same time, by not remembering anything, he doesn't want to speed. He doesn't want to do things so fast. He prefers to remember first, to confirm what he has heard from Faputa, and then react. So I really like even this quality of his, the fact that he always wants to use reason before acting, even if there are other times in which, by losing his control, he can't even think properly. And then I noticed that Faputa really likes to be cuddled by Reg specifically, as if he was doing this even in the past, because Faputa was really used to be cuddled by him, and in fact she's saying, please cuddle me like that time, you know, this side of my body, please, pat pat. I mean, this pat pat reminds me of a Dragon Ball. But anyway, we still don't understand the relationship that we have between Reg and Faputa, and I think that these last 3 episodes coming, especially the last one, because it will last 1 hour, or at least 40 minutes, because it will be doubled, we will understand everything we need to know. So can't wait to go on and follow these. And I still wanted to understand Reg's role in Faputa's life, also because we know that she's always surrounded by interference units. So I was also thinking in this episode, what if Reg in the past was Faputa's guardian? What if he was the one who had to take care of her and who had always to meet her in order to have an audience? Or he had to take care of the fact that Faputa couldn't go out from that sort of a membrane or barrier, call it as much as you like. So sometimes I think that Reg, by being an interference unit, he was supposed to stay next to her, and that's why he met her firstly, or something else, or probably he was the commander of all the other interference units, and he was commanding them what to do to Faputa. I don't know, but that makes me understand that even the fact that he was cuddling her, yeah, what if he was a servant or he was a guardian of her? And then we see that Reg can reach Rico once again. I really like the fact that they can be back together, because throughout this second season, except for the end of the previous one, they were always separated. And I told you, oh no, at that time, do you remember? I said, oh no, if they separate right now, maybe something bad is going to happen. And in fact, Nanachi was the one who fell into this trap of Belaf. But it was really nice to see them back together, and at the same time, we could detect these eyes of Faputa looking at Rico while she's looking back at her. Look, during the reaction, I was telling you, is she jealous of Reg? Because I think that she saw that Rico is always together with Reg and they are always getting along with each other. So what if Faputa can't stand Rico at the beginning of this story, while at the end she will love her so much? And another option is that probably Faputa was having those eyes, evil eyes, all around and full of revenge feelings and stuff like that, also because we see that Rico is together with the villagers, and we know that Faputa can't stand them because she wants to avenge her mom by destroying them. So when she saw that Rico was together with them, and then when she saw that Reg was getting in touch with Rico and all the villagers, probably Faputa was afraid to be betrayed or something by Reg. She thought that she has to destroy them, so she couldn't understand why Rico was together with them. Or was she guessing more about Rico? Because I could see that she was directly looking at her as if she was testing who she is and why she's together with them, as if as much as I was telling you many times, I think that Rico is a great light of hope in the abyss, and she has a great power to change it. That's why we needed to remember that Rico is not there as a coincidence. Rico is not there because she's just the usual cave raider that wants to explore the abyss. But I think that as much as it happened so many other times, Rico has the power to change the abyss, to change the inhabitants of the abyss, to help them, to rescue them, to let them change life, and to reorder the abyss. As much as Reg, thanks to the incinerator, has the power to rewrite things, Rico has a great role, and Faputa probably can sense it. I mean, she can feel that she can be one of her friends in the future, maybe, or she can detect that she's an important presence in the abyss, also because she is the only one that is the human child over there, because Reg is an interference unit, then Nanachi is a hollow, all the others are hollows, so she's the only one who can still have this human form. And probably for Faputa is something strange to see, definitely. And at the same time, before the opening, you see that Faputa is looking at Rico, and at the same time she is checking if she has the white whistle, that means Prushka. And we know that she was the one who was stealing Prushka to take it to that hollow so he could curve it and create this beautiful instrument. And at the same time, you also hear Faputa talking to Prushka. I mean, it seems so, as if she's getting a connection with her, as if she can talk to her indirectly, and she feels that now Prushka is fine, that she's feeling nicely, also because she's together with Rico. And we know that even in previous episodes, it was said that Prushka couldn't live without Rico, couldn't exist without Rico. So probably I think Faputa wanted to understand if also Prushka feels right now because she's together with her. And maybe by knowing that Prushka feels fine with her, she can also think, what if I join them? Because if I have to join Reg, anyway, I have to join her too. So what if I can also feel better by staying next to her? I mean, as you can see, in Made in Abyss, you find these scenes in which they are not talking at all, but you can try to guess so many things about what they are thinking, what they are imagining, thanks to the eyes glimpses. And I think that that's really nice. I mean, in anime, that's one of the most important things. When they don't talk, but you can understand everything by looking at their eyes. And, okay, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but that's what I perceived. And the fact that she was taking care of a Prushka, and we know that Prushka was coming from a difficult situation with the Bondorudo, and she was also being used by her dad. So I think Faputa felt such a sort of empathy towards her, because she was also the daughter of a person who suffered a lot and who was used a lot, and she could understand how Prushka felt. The fact that she was feeling in a cage before Rico arrived, and when Rico saved her, she was feeling free once again. So I think that, yeah, all these things, if you put them together, it makes you understand, just my opinion, that Faputa will join them and she will have a second chance, as much as Prushka had. For this reason, I think that Faputa is not a bad character. She's not evil at all. She just wants to avenge a dear person of hers, and I think that all of us would have done the same, sincerely. I don't want to be hypocrite to say that, oh no, I would have done something else because, let's not forget about peace and whatsoever. Yes, but at the same time, if you know what your mother felt when she was treated like that, I think that none of us would feel so noble to feel something like this. I think that nobody would have said something like this, like, oh no, okay, it's fine, I don't mind anymore, even if you did something like this to Hiromyui, that is my mother, I don't care, let's go ahead all together peacefully. I don't think that this is going to work. I think that I can feel Faputa, I can feel how she feels, and at the same time, I understand her kindness that she's using as just to the people, just to the creatures, just to the things, that she can feel they are not betraying her. Because, for example, Reg is not betraying her, but at the same time, they have a promise in common to keep, and for this reason, Faputa is really kind, and she's ready to give all of her body, everything that is possible to help him. So she's really helpful, she's really kind, but you shouldn't betray her, because in that case, there's the chance that she's going to become evil. She's going to avenge everything bad that is happening to her or to her dearest person, that means her mom. So I quite understand her sincerely, and I don't think that she's the typical character who is avenging everyone dear to her because of what happened. Now, I think that we should put ourselves into Faputa's position more and understand that she's quite alone. She doesn't have anybody she can trust except for Reg. And she was feeling lonely for so many years that you can't handle that loneliness without becoming a little bit angry or without feeling scared about your destiny, because she didn't know if Reg was coming or not. She didn't know if Reg was keeping the promise they were making. She didn't know about what was going to happen to her, no matter the fact that she's immortal or not, but she has feelings. And can you try to imagine how does it feel to belong to that environment forever, or to be afraid that Reg is not coming forever? I think this consumes your soul, and that's why she is how she is. But she's not evil at all. I think that she's really cute instead. So as much as I was telling you, I can't wait to see the moment in which Rico will talk to Faputa, because I think that that moment will come. And Rico has already proved us that she has all the instruments, the right ones, to create a dialogue between the different existences, to create this bond that no matter how different you are, you can find something in common. You can find points in common that can make your bond become even greater than others. So I really trust Rico, and I can't wait for that moment to come. Always talking about mothers, because in these episodes we have these two main figures, mothers and daughters. I really appreciate even Weko, because Weko, the moment in which she saw that part of Faputa, that was the first time she could see her in person, because she was confined in this sacrifice hall and she didn't have the chance. I mean, she could sense her, but she couldn't see her for real. And when she was seeing her, she was worried for her. So as you can see, Faputa has already two people who are taking care of her, even if it's from a distance. And Weko has this motherly instinct that was really appreciated by Irumyuui, and that's why Irumyuui could create this bond with her. But at the same time, Weko didn't lose this, because we know even from the end of the previous episode that Weko let us understand that she's the one taking care of all those black shadows that are reflecting those creatures that couldn't make it, but they were all sons and daughters of Irumyuui, and she was giving them names so they could build this identity. And at the same time, yeah, she was like a mom, because she was doing what Irumyuui couldn't do anymore. It was not a replacement, but it was like as if it was a way to repent for everything that she has done to Irumyuui indirectly. So I found that so beautiful, as much as in this episode I really like that she's taking care of Faputa too, because she's worried, she doesn't know if she is okay, and she's always there asking. I really like this attitude of Weko, and I can really understand why Irumyuui got in touch with her and why she felt as if she was inside a shelter, as if she was protected. Because when people are like this, when they like to share and at the same time protect, you have anything else to do rather than feel empathy, like creating bonds, or to spend the time together and find affinities, find things in common, and create something special. So I think that Weko was a great character of this season, and I still believe that her mission is not gone yet. I mean, it's not finished. There's something else that she has to do, and I can't wait to see that. And at the same time, now that there is this piece of a Faputa inside the village, the balancing is starting, because of course everyone wants to catch it. It's something really precious, is one of the most precious things that can appear inside of the village. We are talking about a part of the body of the princess, so everyone wants to gain it, and at the same time we know that the balancing is starting when someone is too greedy, or someone wants to steal something. And in the case of Reg, he was stealing, even if it was made thanks to an agreement. But from the village's point of view, It's like as if someone stole something from Faputa, who is the daughter of Irumyui. Irumyui is the village, and everything is ordered by the balancing thing inside the village. So if someone is hurting Irumyui's daughter, then the balancing is starting, and especially if we are talking about something really precious. It happened even with Riko, when she was supposed to be gained by some hollows, or what happened to Mania when she was about to be stolen by Rico. I mean, when there is this stealing thing that is happening, we know that the balancing thing is starting. But at the same time, now that we are getting in touch with the rest of the story and we understand who is the village, what happened to the village, how it was created, etc., etc., and we also know that the balancing thing is produced by these black shadows, these sticky shadows that were surrounding Weko at the beginning of the season, but now we know who they are. It's like as if the village is responding as soon as someone is too greedy that wants to obtain something else that it's not theirs, like in the case of Reg, or when Hollows wants to obtain something without offering something else from themselves. So it's like the leitmotif of everything that happened to Irumyui. So inside that village, all the feelings, all these sense of stealing, this sense of greed, this sense of pain that you can even smell, I guess. It's unbelievable. Even if you can't sense it thanks to the way in which you can touch things, you can sense it through feelings. And that's really awesome. I think that the creator of Made in Abyss could describe these feelings so well, because we see how the village is like a personification, and it's like this because the village is Irumyui, and Irumyui was a person. So it's so great to see that these walls that are making this village are alive. They are not walls, they are not something not human, they are still human, they can still feel, even if the representation is totally different, because there are no words coming from the village itself, there are no ways to communicate with it, but you can sense that it's not a normal village, that it's like as if it's a presence, and this presence is ruling on all of them after everything that happened. And then at this point, Reg doesn't know what to do, because he needs to save Nanachi and Mitty, of course, but we know that Nanachi now belongs to Belaf, and even in this case, Weko is warning Reg, and that's why I really like her. Because even in this case, after all that passed, after all the experiences she was making, she doesn't want that other people are too instinctive to choose the wrong path, to choose the wrong thing that is turning into a huge mistake that is unrepairable once it's done. So Weko is suggesting Reg not to take this piece of Faputa inside Belaf's cave, otherwise everything will turn into a mess, and there is the chance for him to lose Nanachi, because as much as I was telling you, Nanachi now belongs to Belaf, because she offered herself entirely in order to stay next to Mitty. So even in this case, if you make a false step, then everything is gone. So Reg needs to think carefully before acting, and I really appreciate that Weko was there, because if Weko was not there, thanks to her experience, probably things would have gone in the worst way, and we could have lost Nanachi, probably. Even Weko get more matured than before, and she can suggest things that in the past probably she would have not done, or by knowing how great the mistakes she made were, she wants to prevent others from repeating the same mistake. And I really like that, because even in her case, even in Weko's case, Weko wanted to save Irumyui that time that she wanted to use the first egg. Do you remember? But then everything turned upside down and she was condemning her instead. So in this case, if Reg was giving to Belaf this piece of Faputa, probably things would have turned so bad that, yeah, Nanachi couldn't make it, because even if Reg wants to save Nanachi, if he's doing something inappropriate, things might change and might turn upside down, as much as for what happened to her. So I really like these chain of events that are repeating, and at the same time you can understand, you can feel that the previous generations are trying somehow to suggest the new ones to make things differently. Otherwise there's no change. There is no way to change anything here in the Abyss. Then it was really nice to go back in the past, because finally we understand more or less what Faputa is saying to Reg regarding this promise. We understand that the main promise was to destroy the village, but at the same time Faputa knew that Reg is too kind to do something like this. So at the end of the day, I open a bracket, probably it's wrong what I told you at the beginning, because if Reg was kind even before, it means that it's part of his instinct, as much as I was saying to you. And that's why maybe even Liza asked his help in order to reach Rico and bring Rico deep down the Abyss, close the bracket. But at the same time, you understand that Faputa says, okay, I know that you can't destroy the village because you're too kind, but the promise was to help her go inside the village, so she could have had the chance to do the rest. I mean, she wanted to be the one who was going to destroy the village based on the previous actions of all the villagers, including Vasukian. But then we see that Faputa is describing the incinerator, because she's saying that Reg was supposed to help her to go inside the village thanks to the incinerator, thanks to this immense weapon that Reg has. And we saw that throughout even the previous season, throughout the movie, that the incinerator is the key, is always the weapon that can solve the problem, the instant problem, or the dangerous situations in which they are in. So I really liked when Faputa was describing this incinerator as something that can come out from his arm, and in fact it's coming out from his robotic arm. And at the same time she's talking about something that this weapon can rewrite. That is the most important thing, I guess, because throughout the previous episodes, the incinerator has this huge power to rewrite things, to change things, to go a step forward sometimes, to, yeah, change the environment, to save others, to help others. So I think that Faputa was really believing that one day Reg would have come back and he would have kept the promise thanks to that weapon that he has. But at this point, this weapon can rewrite just events. I mean, can modify even the laws of the netherworld, as much as they were talking about later, or can it do something else? For example, is it that thanks to the incinerator that Reg one day will be able to remember things? Because do you remember, even in the first season, I guess, when he's using the incinerator and he's falling asleep for 2 hours, then before waking up he was remembering that flashback with Liza. So what if thanks to the incinerator and thanks to the fact that Reg goes to sleep for 2 hours, what if it can even rewrite the data that Reg was collecting throughout all that time, and he can remember things. I think that this weapon is super essential, and we still have to know many things about that. But first of all, who put that incinerator on Reg's arm? Even if it's robotic, but I want to know who invented that weapon. And is Reg the only one who's having this incinerator? What about the other interference units? Do they have the same weapon, even if it's a little bit different? Can they also modify the laws of the netherworld? And that means, can they modify the Abyss? Was this incinerator created by the creator of the Abyss, by the Abyss itself, or by the creator of the interference units? Because we still have to understand who is the creator of them. I thought that it was Reg, but probably it can be somebody else. What if even Liza is involved in these? We don't know, but we just know that this incinerator has a great power and it can modify things. And that's why I'm saying that it's a thanks to what happens later in this episode that probably even in the next one, Reg can recollect some memories and he can understand that Faputa probably was right, that he was making that promise to her, and he can't deny this because it's also in his memories. I can't wait for that. If that's the case, if Riko has her natural power to change the Abyss as much as I was telling you, Reg has another weapon, in this case the incinerator, that can modify and change the Abyss. What if even Faputa, when she will join them, can have the chance, by being immortal, to discover the way to climbing it up? It will be so easy for all the other cave raiders to do so. I can't wait for the moment to see that this team is enlarging and it's becoming greater and bigger than before, because the more you are, the better you can solve the enigma, as always. So, Faputa, please join us. Faputa is saying that Reg was about to use this incinerator to help Faputa to pass through the village and to enter inside of it, until he said that he couldn't make it at that time because he was really busy. He had to go and search Haku. I think that Haku at this point is Riko, because we know that Reg was really busy. He had to climb up the Abyss. He had to find Riko, even if at that time he didn't remember anything, but as a coincidence, he was meeting Riko on surface. So I think that all these events are planned by a sort of destiny, and that's why even Reg, no matter if he remembered or not, he could reach Riko no matter what. I still don't know if it's because of Liza's hints, or it was just destiny that he could meet her at that time, and at the same time, by searching for her, he had to leave Faputa alone. Now we know that Reg left her alone because he had another mission, because he had to find this Haku. And yeah, as much as I was telling you, in my opinion, Haku is Riko. You know that Haku means the most important thing to a person, the most valuable thing for a person. In the case of Nanachi, Haku was Mitti. And in the case of Reg, at this point, is Riko, based maybe on the promise he made to Liza. As you can see, if Reg promised something to Liza, it makes you understand that Reg is making lots of promises. Even if he doesn't remember, what if he made another promise to somebody else? We don't know. But the thing is that he had this important thing to do. So he had to leave everything that he was doing and reach the top of the Abyss. And he also promised to Faputa that the next time that they were meeting, she could have followed him. That's why I'm saying that by keeping also this promise, there's nothing else to do rather than Faputa to join the group. And last but not least, she's saying you will take a Faputa where they are. If we have to go ahead, logically speaking, that they means the villagers, because of her mission, because of what she's supposed to do. That means to avenge her mom and to destroy the village. But at the same time, I was also thinking, does Faputa need to reach somebody else too? I mean, based on maybe Reg's storytelling, maybe what they shared in the past, does this mean that they doesn't represent the villagers only, but it's also representing something else? What if this Haku is not just valuable to Reg, but it will be valuable even to Faputa because of what I was telling you before, as if Riko is this light of hope in darkness. And if you remember, the more you go down, the darker it is. But if you have this light of hope that is not figurative. I mean, it's not a real light, but it's the light of the mind, the light of a heart that a person can have. That's like a torch when you're surrounded by darkness, and even in darkness you can explore things that maybe you can't if you are distracted by something else. So I think that, yeah, Riko is essential, and for this reason she's considered as a Haku for Reg, but maybe even for Faputa in the future, we don't know. Oh, and then while they are talking all together, I mean, Reg is explaining Riko what he remembers, or at least what Faputa told him regarding this promise, etc., etc. Vasukian is appearing, and he is calling Reg as a prince. Look, at this point, I don't know if Vasukian was just joking when he was saying something like this, because it's like as if he was saying, oh, here it is, the prince who's going to come and save the princess, who's going to help the princess, and whatsoever, or he was saying that word on purpose, because probably behind Reg's memories and behind Reg's existence, there is a past, of course, that we don't know, but maybe there is the chance that Reg was the prince of the Golden City. What if Reg was a native, for example, and then by descending the abyss, he was modified thanks to these robotic arms that he has, and he turned into an interference unit? What if interference units are made not just by robotic parts, but even by human parts? And it means that even Reg, if he was a native and he descended the abyss because he was curious as much as all the others, he turned into an interference unit because of somebody else, and he was just an experiment as much as all the others. We don't know, but anyway, what does that mean that he is a prince? What if he was the prince of the Golden City, as much as Weko said he is probably a real resident of the Golden City? But what if, thanks to that incinerator, he was stopping time inside the abyss, and that's why time was distorted, and he created something incredible? What if, thanks to the incinerator, he was transforming somehow even the rest of the population? You know that it was said that the population of the Golden City was erased. I mean, they couldn't find them anymore. So what if Reg was the cause of all these thanks to the incinerator? At this point, if that's the case, he is a culprit too, because probably he was using the incinerator because he was evil, because he wanted knowledge too, because he, by being considered as the prince and having this great authority, had the power to destroy everyone. We don't know, but the fact that he's saying a prince, it gives me a little bit of doubts about what if Vasukian knows who Reg was, and that's why he was even scared at that time when he saw him. Was he scared because he knew that he was helping Faputa destroying the village one day, or does he know something else about Reg that we also don't know? Something that only Vasukian knows, because by getting in touch with the interference units, also because of the eggs, probably he was asking about Reg too, if they know him, who is he, and stuff like that, and the interference units probably were responding before having this stop of information. Do you remember that at the beginning of the season, or at the beginning of the narration of Weko, it was said that the interference units at a certain point couldn't communicate with the others anymore because something happened that decreased the possibility for them to communicate. No, at that time the interference unit was talking to Reg specifically, and he was saying something like case. So what if there was the incinerator, time stopped, or it was dilated, and at the same time there was this lack of communication between interference units. That's why this mess was created. Even the extension of time, that is unbelievable, because we understand, thanks to Vasukian, that since the moment they descended the abyss, since the moment that the village was created, already passed 150 years. So does this mean that Weko, for example, she's 180 years already? That's crazy, don't you think? Vasukian surpassed already 200 years at this point. But yeah, this makes you understand that there is this mystery regarding Reg that we definitely need to solve, that we definitely need to understand who he is. At a certain point, I also thought that Reg was a part of the village of Irumiui. I mean, probably by being a native, because do you remember that he is having the same stripes here on his face as much as Irumiui's villagers. So what if he was belonging to that village when they decided to descend the abyss for curiosity to understand this curse more, and then he found someone over there, and that's why he can't remember anything. He got the incinerator. He was trying to climb the abyss once again because he tried to find Haku, in this case Riko, and then Faputa was meeting him down inside the abyss. But Faputa, by being the daughter of Irumiui, and Irumiui by belonging to the same village, probably Reg had this instinct to create a bond with her, to help her because of the same provenience. It could be possible, but there's a thing of the prince, okay? It blows my mind because I don't think that Reg is a common person, and that's why when Vasukian said the prince, I was like, oh, okay. I don't think that this is a coincidence too. I think that he's saying this because he knows what he's saying. As you noticed, Vasukian has this great ability. He has the power of words. He knows how to use them. That's why I think that it's not just a mere coincidence. And always talking about this incinerator. What if Reg at that time was using the incinerator to change the abyss, or to modify the laws of the netherworld, as much as it was already said in this episode, even at that time? But unfortunately, he made a mistake, or he didn't know how to use it, and he erased his population instead. Why do I say that Vasukian is really great? I mean, he has great abilities with words and stuff like that. He knows everything about the village because he was one of the creators of the village. So, of course, he knows everything about the inside, the outside, especially the inside. But nothing can be hidden from his presence, from his eyes, from his knowledge. And in fact, I say this because he could recognize even Weko. I mean, even if she tried to hide herself or to modify her appearance, he could understand that that was her. So you understand that Vasukian is not just a leader, but he also knows everything of everyone. You can't trick him. You can't hide things from him. It's like as if, yeah, he is not just the creator of the village, but he is the owner of the village. So everything that is happening, Vasukian knows that. And in fact, even his knowledge is surpassing her knowledge. And that's why I was even telling you in previous episodes that Vasukian's knowledge is on another level. And even if they were supposed to be the three sages, no, at the end of the day, it's like as if Vasukian and Belaf, they were definitely on another level than her, and they were totally different. And even between Belaf and Vasukian, there was a huge difference, in my opinion, because Vasukian was the one who was having a certain type of knowledge that even Belaf didn't know, sincerely. I think that Belaf was really intelligent, but he was following Vasukian as much as all the others, based on this promise to find the golden city, promise to create our home over there, etc., 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 being the first human beings to reach such a great important step inside this central pit. So as you can see, Vasukian was the one who was managing all this Genji group, and all the others were just following him. Some of them were more intelligent than others, like in the case of Belaf, but then all the rest, they were just trusting Vasukian's words. They were hoping that what Vasukian was saying was actually the truth. And then when he's saying, oh, Weko, you could come out from there, I'm so happy for that. Is that true? Because he was the one who confined her over there. I mean, I remember that in the previous episode we see Vasukian that is going to visit Weko, and Weko is waking up and she doesn't even know where she is. And then he's saying, oh, look, you're connected to Iromui's brain. You can sense her thanks to signals and whatsoever. But it's like as if, Vasukian probably knew maybe how to take her away from there. I mean, if Riko did that, why he couldn't? Because do you remember that Riko was the one who was disconnecting Weko from all those cables from Irumui? So if Riko could do that, why Vasukian didn't? Of course, because there was this huge project to stay alive and to survive. But I remember that when Riko is disconnecting her, she doesn't even mind. Of course, she doesn't know the story, the background story we know now. But at that time, Weko was not saying anything to her. She was just telling her, look, please, if you disconnect me from here, I can come with you. So she was not saying, please don't do that because it's dangerous. Please don't do that because I'm connected to Irumui. I mean, she just did that. But there was no counter effect, sincerely. Connecting myself with the previous episode, I understand Irumui a lot because she wanted to have Weko next to herself. I mean, she wanted to have her mom because you know that Irumui considered Weko as a mom next to her, and at the same time, I think that Irumui wanted to protect her. That's the reason why Weko was found in that sacrifice hole, because that was even safer than outside. I mean, by staying inside of the village, but outside of this hole. So I think that Irumui wanted her to stay there, wanted to create a bond with her, and at the same time she could protect her, but Weko could also protect those creatures that couldn't make it. So as you can see, these returning favors, that is always a great subject in this second season, and it's quite powerful. Then I noticed something suspicious, because at a certain point Vasukian is asking Weko if she narrated everything about the princess, how she was born and everything, as if he wants to test Weko. I mean, as if he wants to understand how Weko's power is strong enough to change or to modify things based on the narration or not. And Weko is saying, yes, I told about the princess, but I was the protagonist of this narration. I mean, it's like as if it was everything centered on her rather than Irumui, rather than Vasukian as a main protagonist of this storytelling. And in that case, he was saying, oh, okay. Look, I didn't like that question, sincerely, because it's like as if Vasukian wanted to know the way in which Weko narrated this story to all the others, as if he was hiding something else, as if we can have another version of the story, as if there are still some other things that were not narrated by Weko, because probably Weko was scared to narrate everything, otherwise there could have been repercussions on the villagers, on the village, on Irumui. We don't know. I mean, probably she was also afraid that if she narrated something else, everything could have turned against Irumui once again, so she skipped some things. I don't know, but something tells me that there is another version of the story, or there are some missing parts that probably in the next 3 episodes will be narrated probably by Faputa, because Faputa is a sort of a reincarnation of Irumyui. She's the one who could go out and could be safe and could be a real child, the last child, the ultimate one. So I think that Faputa collected also Irumyui's feelings, Irumyui's memories, everything. So for this reason, I'm saying that probably if Faputa can have the chance to talk to Riko, she can also tell her version of the story, and she can also tell probably the missing things that are not told still. I can't wait for that, but yeah, I felt a little bit strange when that sentence was made by Vasukian, as if, there is something else we don't know. And in fact, Vasukian immediately after is confirming himself if Riko hates him, based on what she has heard from the narration. So as you can see, is Vasukian doing some other stuff that we don't know, and probably we can hate him more than what happened now? Or does he want to test Riko to see what she knows about him, so then he is understanding how to respond to her? And then I really admire Riko's answer to this question, because she's saying, I don't know anything about you, but I really like this village. Okay, let me open a bracket, because even yesterday I was talking to one of you guys in the comments, and it was a great conversation, because I like when people are having different opinions about what I say, and at the same time we can discuss about these politely, I mean peacefully, without arguing it. It was really awesome. I was exploring Vasukian's character more, and I was thinking more about him and the reasons why he wanted to do what he did, actually. But in this case, when Riko is replying about this, I totally agree with Riko. I mean, from Riko's point of view, this village is fine, because she was rescued by them, because she could have had the chance to learn more, something new that she has never learned before. That means a new language. She could help them, rescuing them from, do you remember at that time, that the queen that was appearing and was trying to defeat all the hollows, and she was the boss in charge, helping them. I mean, she was helped even by Majikaja, but from her perspective, of course this village is fine, and she wants to save them, because she was also saved. Do you remember when Ma-san was helping her? It's obvious that she can't think the contrary. But on the other side, we have Faputa's point of view. We have what Irumyui felt throughout all that time, throughout all these 150 years, and we can't blame Faputa too. So as you can see, it depends how you see things. It depends on the perspective. It depends on the point of view of the characters. And that's why, as much as for what I told you in Shingeki no Kyojin, that's amazing, because when you have stories like these, when you can feel empathy for all the characters and you can see the story from different perspectives, that's a masterpiece, because you have the chance to explore different way to see the same story. And you can develop new thoughts, you can extend your mind, you can expand your horizons, and that's why stories like these have great success. Even in this case, Riko has a point of view of the village that Faputa can't have, because they experienced two different things, and based on these experiences you can create your own thoughts, you can create your own environment based on where you are. In the case of Riko, she was treated nicely, she was eating even at the restaurant thanks to Mugi, she was rescued, she was rescuing, she was learning. So of course this experience can't be negative, it's definitely positive. But from Irumyui's side, from Faputa's side, we can't say that it's something positive, because all these could create something that could degenerate and could create a huge problem to everything that was happening later, especially to Irumyui, especially to her heart, especially to her feelings, when nobody was hearing them because she couldn't even talk. And at the same time, she had to feel, she had to feel that the pain she was feeling, and she couldn't do anything else rather than keep offering herself for the sake of others, without even rebelling, because there was not even the chance to rebel. So as you can see, there is a different point of view of things, and there is a different way to describe this story, and that's why it amazes me, because you have always a way to interpret this story based on what the characters are feeling or doing. And then Riko is saying that there are more people like her in the abyss than on Earth, that is the surface of the abyss. Look, even in this case, I can understand Riko, because she really wants to explore the abyss as much as the Genja group wanted, so I can understand the way in which she's feeling, because she's finding other beings, because right now they are no more human beings, that wanted to do the same thing that she wanted to do, no matter the consequences, no matter the fact that she was finding herself in that situation, no matter the fact that she was surrounded by these hollows. And Riko is the type of person that, no matter the differences, she's always trying to find the positive way to communicate, or the positive attitude, the positive ability, or something that is good in a creature, in a being whatsoever, except for Pondorudo. Pondorudo, I mean, to try to find something positive about him, it's really, really hard. But anyway, I can understand her attitude, and that's why I was telling you already that Riko has the ability to go to the bottom of the abyss for this reason. First of all, because she doesn't want to do everything by herself. Second of all, because she is accepting the differences of others. And third of all, because she's not underestimating others. And at the same time, she wants to improve herself thanks to others. So these great qualities make her become how she is, and that's why she could get in touch with Prushka, that's why she could get in touch with Nanachi, that's why she could get in touch with Mitty, no matter if she was a hollow. I still remember when Riko was touching her head and she was making eye-to-eye conversations with me. I really think that Riko is an important character, and it's a revolutionary character, because no matter the fact that she heard the story from Weko, no matter the fact that she has heard so many abominous things regarding Irumyui and whatsoever, she's not abandoning those hollows, because she can probably understand that they were dragged over there with a purpose, and they were not those the culprits, but maybe something else or somebody else. That's why I'm saying that Riko always wants to give others the chance to explain themselves, to tell her their stories, and to judge later. Or I don't think that she's even judging later. That's another great thing, because usually even characters of other stories, based on what they hear, they judge. But Riko is more open-minded, and I think that this quality she has can revolutionize the abyss too. That's why I'm still thinking that Riko will change the abyss. We still don't know how entirely, because she still has to reach the bottom of the abyss, and she still has to meet her mom if she's still alive. But she will definitely create something that other cave raiders couldn't. I think Riko is admiring this Genja group also because they were struggling for 150 years over there, and they were trying to survive as best as they could, and they were keep exploring, or they keep a wish to explore, no matter the circumstance in which they were living in. Look, I opened a parenthesis regarding this will to survive that I was discussing with one of you on the channel in the comment section. Look, I told you so many times, leave a comment below without offenses, without bad words, but comment and write me your opinions about these episodes, because I'm really interested. I'm really curious to know what you think, and maybe we can create deep conversations in the comment section too. So feel free to comment me here down below and tell me your thoughts as much as I'm doing with you. But anyway, I opened these parentheses because even yesterday we were arguing a little bit about Vasukian's role and his will to survive, the fact that when you're struggling to survive, you are so desperate that you reach a point in which you don't even know how to handle these things anymore. You want to find the most desperate way to survive, no matter if these can cause harm on others, because you don't even recognize these anymore. I mean, desperation is making you feel blind, that you don't even understand the gravity of what you're doing. So I can understand Vasukian for some reason why he wanted to do what he wanted to do. I can understand the reason why he wanted to use Irumyuui for the sake of others, but as much as I was telling you, even in other stories, right now I don't remember exactly when, but I said that sometimes we always prefer to save 100 instead of 1 because the number matters, or sometimes we have to sacrifice somebody for our sake. In my opinion, this is both wrong, because even that one number matters. Even if it's not part of that 100 that is suffering right now, but we should matter even that one. Otherwise, it makes you understand that we are nothing, that we don't mean anything. Just when we are a community, we mean something, and when we are left aside alone, we don't mean anything at all. I can understand the will to survive as a community and to reduce the loss of the population, the loss of a team and whatsoever, but that doesn't mean that I can excuse Vasukian. I mean, he was using a little girl who had dreams, and it's like as if he was raping those dreams in front of her eyes over and over and over again, and she couldn't even have the voice to scream or to rebel. That's the worst torture ever. No matter if you do this to an adult or to a kid, okay, of course if it's a kid I feel even angrier than ever, because don't touch kids, okay? And in this story we always touch kids. That's why I feel disgusted. But what I'm saying is that we shouldn't praise just the big number. We shouldn't think that it matters just when it's a big number. We should even understand that it matters even the single number, because that number can make a difference. And in fact, Irumyuui was able to save everyone. Even if she was 1, she was able to save 100. Okay, 100, I say 100 not because the Genji group were 100, but it's just an example to let you understand what I mean. We wanted to sacrifice others for our sake, but at this point, shouldn't we feel equal? I mean, we all matter. So if we start sacrificing others for our sake, it means that we are superior than others, that we matter more than others, and this is something I can't stand. I really hope that even in our world there will be the day in which there will not be a hierarchy, there will not be a leader all the times, there will not be a superiority or something that stays on top of others, because until there is this sort of scale, there is not a solution, there is not a way to change it, there is not a way to create something different. And on the contrary, Riko is doing something like this, because Riko is accepting a hollow, Riko is accepting Mitty, Riko is accepting a robotic guy. I mean, she's accepting everyone. She's creating a team in which all of them are equal, and she's not making a difference at all. That's her greatness. And look, as much as I was saying in the comments, I still believe so. I believe that if Riko was asked to sacrifice one of her members, I mean one of her fellows, she would have said no, because how can Riko be able to see, for example, Nanachi dying in front of her to save herself? I don't think she would have done this ever. Or in the case Nanachi wants to sacrifice herself, okay, in that case it's her own choice. Nobody else made that choice for her. But in the case of Irumyuui, somebody else chose for her. And the result is that she was condemned, not because of her own will. Yes, she was wishing to become a mom, but she would have never imagined that by having this wish, she would have felt like this for 150 years. Do you understand what I mean? One thing is to sacrifice yourself because you want that. And something is different when somebody else is choosing for you. I think that Vasukian is not innocent at all. I think that he pushed Ueko to sacrifice Irumyuui because he read that sacrifice a tattoo on her back. I think that Vasukian knew that Irumyuui was there to be used, and he was just waiting the proper moment to do so, because he had another purpose. I think that all these Genja members, all these villagers that are following Vasukian are victims, but at the same time, not as much as a victim as it may seem, because even in that case, they could have refused, but they didn't, because selfishness is more important than anything, because your sake comes first, as always. But I think that if something like this happened to one of their relatives, they wouldn't accept that. They would have said, no, that's not nice to do. But if it's Irumyuui, they don't know her, she's just a native, she's just a tour guide, okay, it's fine, let's do that, let's follow what Vasukian says. So as you can see, until we don't suffer, we don't care. When we suffer, when we are the protagonists who are suffering, then it's different, then we care. That's why I'm saying that one of you subscribers, thank you so much for commenting me, but she or he, sorry, was saying that maybe the Abyss is the real culprit of all these. I can agree with this, partially, because no matter if the Abyss is attracting you, no matter if the Abyss is condemning you or trying to temptate you, it's up to you. You are going to choose what to do with your life, with your actions and whatsoever. If you are possessed, as much as it was said for Vasukian, then it's different, because you're not responding to your own actions, to your own decisions. But if you're not possessed, you're culprit too, because you belong to the Abyss now. So you are part of it, and by being part of it, you have a responsibility of your actions based on what you do. And at the same time, you can't redeem yourself by saying that you didn't do anything, or, oh, the culprit is the Abyss. You can't have this excuse to leave the Abyss as the one and only culprit. In the moment you choose, you start a responsibility. You say something, so by saying something or by doing something, it's also your own fault. And I think that when Vasukian was agreeing, when Ueko was using those eggs on the first egg on Irumyuui, he was a culprit, because I'm pretty sure that he knew. And at the same time, I wonder why he didn't want to sacrifice himself instead of Irumyuui. Of course, probably because it was said that this egg was being used by kids only. It was effective only if kids were using them. But I think that they could have found another way. Why do I say this? Is because, do you remember when Nanachi was so afraid for Riko and her diarrhea, and she was asking Magikaja, is there a place where I can find some herbs or something that I can cure Riko? And Magikaja was saying, yes, please come here, I'm going to show this to you, this place to you, or something like that. As you can see, I think that they could have found other options before reaching the worst option. Even if there were people struggling, that doesn't mean that a person has to sacrifice another one for her or his own sake, because this means just superiority, and I can't stand it. On the other side, I can understand that Vasukian tried to do his best in order to save all of them, but at least he should have done what Belaf did. That means to redeem himself in front of Hiromiui, to say sorry for his mistakes, to understand that he was doing something abominous to a little girl and he didn't. That's why I can't stand him. If he did something like Belaf, at least it was a step forward. But as you can see, if you have a purpose, sometimes you are ready to step on others in order to reach it. And that was just Vasukian's purpose, not the Genja group's purpose. Because these other members were just following him no matter what he was saying. And they were following his beautiful words, the way in which he could assure them that everything would have been fine, that it was better than gold. Yeah, even this symbol of the gold, okay? For Riko, the gold is to reach her mom, to reach the bottom of the abyss, while for Vasukian, it was the same. I mean, the gold is the purpose. And the Golden City, probably, it was like the purpose city, because probably Vasukian thought that the Golden City was the entrance, as much as Riko is saying, of this mystery, of this golden treasure that he was supposed to find. That means all the mysteries of the abyss, all the darkness that was becoming known instead of unknown. So all these mysteries that are created around the abyss that are amazing other people as much as Riko. Yeah, all people have their gold. All people are ready to sacrifice a part of them to reach that goal. But if it's regarding yourself, I agree with this. I mean, if Riko wants to sacrifice herself and if Riko wants to go to her edge, I mean to her limits, that's fine because it's her decision, it regards herself only, and that's okay because it's what she wants to do. But if she's going to drag other people together with her by forcing them or by brainwashing them, then it's a little bit different, and that's what Vasukian was doing in my opinion. For his purpose, he was dragging others together with him. And that was not something good to do, no matter the purpose. I also know that the Genja group members were leftovers of the society and they didn't have a place to go anymore, so the only thing to do was, okay, let's explore this central pit and let's see what we can find, and we can find our own dominion over there and try to rule it or try to accept everyone who wants to reach that level, etc., etc. I mean, at the beginning, this adventure was pretty nice and the purpose was nice too. But then I think that these members were just following Vasukian. They were depending on him, and that's a way to lose your identity, to lose what you are because you're just following this person. That is what's happening even with the creatures of Hiromiui, but thanks to Echo, those creatures who were dying because they couldn't make it, now are having an identity because Weko was giving them names. So as you can see, even this contrast of dependence and self-identity, it's so great. There are so many subjects here in this story that really deserves, but what Vasukian is doing, it's not good. And the fact that later he also wants Riko to choose for their own destiny, that's something unbelievable. I mean, she's a little girl and you're giving her this huge responsibility, no matter the fact that Riko is courageous and she's brave enough to choose no matter what, but the fact that she is there to choose for them, while when they had to choose, they just wanted to follow what Vasukian was saying, or in the case of Vasukian is asking a little girl to choose for him. That's another way to use somebody else for his own purpose. As much as he was using Hiromiui, now he is using Riko. Riko can't say no at this point because he knows that Riko loves this village. So of course she will try to find a way to protect them or to save them. But this is unfair because first of all, Riko got in touch with all of them. She created a bond with them, especially with Ma-san or Majikaja, but Later, Vasukian is asking her, do you want to save us? You can say yes, you can say no, but then it's up to you. I mean, how is she supposed to say no? Of course she will say yes. So she is chained once again. As much as for what happened to Irumyuui didn't have a choice because she was forced to save them. And this is why I don't like him. For the first time, he should respond to what he wants to do. For the first time, he shouldn't rely on others by doing things because it's too easy. He's never taking his responsibility to everything that is happening. So, no, I can't stand him for this reason. Then, the fact that he wants to give a chance to the villagers to survive, to be able to be free again, to interrupt this curse on them, etc., etc., that's great. But at the same time, who's going to do that? He is not, because he can't. But who's going to do that? The human child. Rico is going to do that. I don't think it's fair, because he should have done something to repair for his mistakes. And then, did you notice throughout all this season, Vasukian didn't share anything with others? I mean, he wanted to reach this knowledge just for himself, even by talking with the interference units all the time about these eggs. He was not sharing, he was not considering all these members as fellows, as companions. There was this leader versus all the others, and that's why something went wrong. Because Rico and all the others also faced troubles together, they faced the bad moments. Even Rico was injured because she was attacked by that creature, do you remember, in season 1? But they didn't lose hope. They didn't say, okay, I mean, Reg didn't say, Rico, I will let you stay here and I will go ahead through the abyss without helping you, or I will try to save you, but if I can't, that's it. No, Reg was struggling, was doing everything possible for him to save her. That's what I like to see, when a team is collaborating and everyone is equal, because everyone can give a team something that others can't. So that's why by combining different abilities or different things, different characteristics, you can create something unbeatable. But it was not like this for the Genja group. Do I feel that Vasukian feels guilty for everything that happened? Maybe. But if he feels guilty, he should say it, as much as Belaf did. I think that that's the only reason why I don't like Vasukian, because everyone can make a mistake. I mean, everyone can turn blind and see just his or her own things without knowing that these things are harming others. Yes, it's possible. But at the same time, when other people are showing you that you're making a mistake and that you're not doing something right, you should admit it. You should say sorry. You should try to repair in a different way, even if Irumyuui can't go back as before, but at least show us that you're doing something. Maybe he was using the third egg, as much as you were saying in the comments, to repair for his mistakes. Maybe, yes. And it didn't work because the eggs are working just thanks to kids. I mean, not with adults, but I think that his ways of talking, his attitude while talking, already ruins what he's trying to do in the case he's trying to redeem himself. Do you understand what I mean? I mean, even the tone of the voice, his words, Irumyuui, mommy is coming, or yeah, Belaf, don't worry, he's fine. This is not a way to redeem yourself. This is not a way to accept and confirm your mistakes. This gives me another vibe. So that's why I'm saying, was he attracted by the Abyss so much that the Abyss was possessing him? Did the Abyss make him do things on purpose? I don't know. But the only thing I know is what I see. And what I see is that every time other people have to choose instead of him, or other people have to take that step that is going to change things instead of him. And first of all, Weko did it by giving the first egg. Okay, she was asking him what to do and he was just replying yes. But I think that Weko's will was to help Irumyuui. So that was Weko's intention, to save Irumyuui, not Vasukian's. And then Even now, when everything has to be repaired, it's Riko's turn. At least Ueko said it. I mean, when she recognized the horrifying things that were happening to Irumyuui also because of her, she wanted to end her life because of this, because she felt too responsible. And even if it was a mistake, even that, but at least she was curving inside her soul the pain she was feeling. Belaf too. Vasukian didn't do anything like this. And connecting myself with what I was telling you regarding the Abyss. Look, throughout these seasons, to me, it seems that the Abyss is testing people. I mean, the Abyss is attracting these cave raiders, these people already living in the Abyss, that were transformed into hollows or something even more evil. But it's like as if the Abyss is a game of survival, of extremes, of limits, of adventures and disadventures. I mean, it's like a test on humanity to see if people are going to step on others or to see the result of it, because throughout these seasons you see people attacking other people, creatures attacking humans, obstacles, one person that is going against the other one, the will to conquer, the will to gain as much as for knowledge, for example, the will to become superior, but on the contrary there are even good sides. So what if the Abyss is waiting until people are going to understand how to handle the Abyss for real? That means cooperation, sharing things, love, respect, all these big values that are going against the principles of the Abyss as it is right now. Because even Faputa wants to destroy the village, for example. She wants to avenge her mom. So all these negative feelings, it's like as if they are inside the Abyss until somebody else is coming to dismantle all these negative vibes in the Abyss, and it's going to create a change. It's going to change the Abyss for something good. In this case, Riko can be the key. Riko can be the solution for that, because each step that she's taking through the Abyss by reaching the bottom of it makes you feel as if Riko is trying her best to repair all the damages of the Abyss little by little. And that's why I'm saying, is the Abyss waiting for somebody like Riko to change things? Or is the Abyss creating all this mess to give a message to humanity, to help them understanding their weak points and help them understand that something has to change? That if humanity goes on like this, there's no turning back. There's nothing that can be repaired. That's why I'm saying that the creator of the Abyss, or the Abyss itself, is trying all its best to create obstacles, difficulties, things to overcome, because it's the purpose. The real purpose is to go ahead, to not stop, to not give up, but to change things. And in fact, even Mugi, I really feel her, because she's saying that she likes to live inside that village, but at the same time she has this constant desire that is unfulfilled forever, because she's confined there. And for 150 years, she felt that desire to keep going ahead in this adventure, but now she can't. She can't even go out. She will be in a cage forever, in her opinion, until, of course, Riko is going to solve everything. But what I'm saying is that Vasukian thinks that the village was a great opportunity for them to find a place to live, but at the same time, it's a condemnation. It's a curse, because they can't go out. They can't have other desires. They can't wish for anything, otherwise the balancing is coming until they donate something of themselves. So as you can see, there's nothing good here. This curse has to be deleted, has to be solved. And in fact, their souls are totally condemned, because by wishing something, and you know that you can wish but you can't have it, it's terrible. It's something that you will never obtain, that you will never gain, that you will just imagine. This is a jail. This is something you can't escape from. And I don't think that this is a great place to live in. Especially if you also feel guilty because this village was created by using a person that was supposed to help you. Because she was the tour guide. She was supposed to send them till the bottom of the abyss, or at least till the Golden City. But this myth of the Golden City is so great because now we understand that gold equals not the material coins or the treasure as it is, but the purpose. So this Golden City is like the city of hope, the city of the purpose to be fulfilled, and that's so amazing. And finally, we reached the point that I was talking to you about in the previous episode's commentary. That means that Vasukian wanted to do his own thing. And his own thing, as much as we discover in this episode, is not to reach the Golden City. I mean, it's not to reach where they are, sincerely, but to reach the end of the abyss, to reach the bottom of the abyss. So he is like a Rico, actually. There's no difference. In this case, there is no difference, but on the other side, Rico and Vasukian are two different. Psychologically speaking, Vasukian was, okay, my goal, who cares? That's how I see things, sorry for that, but that's how I felt throughout these episodes, while Rico is, okay, join me, let's become friends, we are different, no problem, we can all stick together, and we can reach the bottom of the abyss together by joining forces, by help each other, and by not giving up on each other. That's a difference, in my opinion, because if you don't give up on each other, it means that you're not sacrificing any of your comrade. In the case that this is happening, I am pretty sure that Reg, Nanachi will say by themselves, I want to sacrifice myself. I want to do this. It will not be Rico imposing her will on them. Now we understand that Rico has a great importance because now she has that skill to probably use the cradles of desire because they are 3 and they are inside the Faputa. Vasukian hopes that thanks to Rico they can go out from there. I mean, there's the ultimate chance that maybe she can talk to Faputa and she can find an agreement with them so they can all escape. But it's pretty tough because if you think about that, you have to change all Faputa's mind. I mean, you have to change all her thoughts about what's going to happen. And I don't think that this is something easy, except for the fact that Reg is there. So probably if Reg is asking her to do this and on the contrary she can follow them or she can join them, then probably it's something possible, because you remember that Faputa is saying that she likes to be cuddled. That means that even if she is inside that same place but she's cuddled, is fine. But she's also saying that she really prefers freshness. So if Reg can convince her to join them, and at the same time the villagers can be rescued or can be free, then maybe something can be made and can be solved in this way, because we know that Reg now is in the middle. One wants to destroy the village, the other one wants to protect the village, so Reg doesn't know what to do. But then I'm wondering, if Rico didn't reach there, how things would have gone on. I mean, Vasukian now wants to let them free. And probably he was always struggling in these 150 years to find a way to let them be free. I don't want to judge that. But if Rico didn't reach there, he would have gone ahead over and over and over again by trying other ways, probably. I also thought that Bondordo could have told him that someone was coming, probably to save them. After Bondordo let them go to the last dive, I think, that then he contacted Vasukian somehow, as much as when Bondordo was meeting Belaf, at that time when he was introducing him Mitti. What if Bondordo already told him, somebody is coming that is changing the abyss, and this time you can still hope, and that's why Vasukian was always hoping one day that the change was coming. Do you remember? He was saying it even in the previous episode to Echo, I guess, yeah? To never lose the hope that something can change. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I think that Vasukian already knew that Rico was coming. And is it thanks to Bondordo? Is it thanks to something else? I don't know, but he was not surprised at all when he was meeting her. I think he was just asking her questions to understand if that was the human child that he was waiting for. But once again, I want to say this. I really like Mugi as a character too, because she's saying, oh, look, but now there is this heavy burden that you want Rico to carry because of us, because of our choices, because of what happened to us. Isn't it too much? Yeah, I think so. It's too much. Even if Rico will make it, but it's too much and it's too selfish once again, because we don't know the effects that everything can have on Rico. And Vasukian is not even thinking about those effects, except for Mugi. So I really like that this restaurant chief is talking like this. And even if Vasukian is saying, oh, no, but don't worry, because the kids can choose, or it's yes or it's no. But as much as I was saying, how can you expect from Rico that she says, no, I don't care? She will never say that. And in fact, she was about to respond when there was the interruption. There was a Juroimo stepping on and trying to defeat them, trying to defeat the intruders, because they are not part of the village, so they are considered as an enemy. And I really like the fact that even in this case, you can't understand what Rico is choosing, sincerely, because she's interrupted once again, as much as when she was interrupted while she had to answer to Belaf about one of those three options. And I also noticed that when Juroimo arrived, Vasukian knew that Juroimo was connected to Echo. So in that case, we see that Vasukian is trying to protect her by stealing her from the place she was in that moment. And I think that, yeah, in that case, we see a Vasukian that wants to protect her. Because if she's in danger, then if Irumyuui knows that she's in danger, or if she is dying, all the village is gone. In that case, he didn't want to kidnap her or something like that, but he was just trying to protect her a little bit from Juroimo, because now also we understand who Juroimo was. I mean, that was that dirty man that was doing some strange things on Weko. Even in the first episode we saw him. Weko is saying that that person was the one who recruited her. I mean, who let her join the Ganja group. Am I right what I'm saying? Because if that's so, that's disgusting. He did something brutal on her. I mean, I think that he was burning her with that fire, as much as I think that she was naked. I don't know, maybe she was marked with a tattoo or something, or she was raped. I don't know, but anyway, the way which she was recruited was terrible. Because even in that case, if Vasukian was the leader, he knew what was going on to Weko. But he didn't do anything to protect her or to save her from those dirty hands. Nothing. The pain that Weko is feeling, even by calling him with these bad words, makes you understand how she wants to detach herself from that thing that caused her so much trouble and cursed her forever. So look, I really like the way in which Weko is trying to push him away, even by thinking about him. That was really intense, and you could feel from Weko's eyes the pain that was coming inside her mind over and over again, as if the past is still the present and it's not something that can be erased or something that was happening before. It's still happening in her heart still, and it's really painful. Everything that happened later was that Irumyuui changed Juroimo like that, and Juroimo is considered as the guardian of the village, But I also think that, and that's why I was telling you before this, that Weko was sent in the sacrifice hole. Irumyuui wanted to protect her from him too, because he couldn't reach Weko anymore. That was a way to left her aside instead of all the other villagers, because it was a way for Irumyuui to protect Weko from him. That's how I felt. Vasukian is saying that one day he presented himself as a third sage, he could talk. It was really different from Weko's memories, because Weko has never heard his voice, I guess. The brutality of these memories that are coming back inside her mind is terrifying, and I don't even want to understand what happened to Weko before she joined the Genja group, because that's the most horrifying thing, I guess. And that's why Weko could understand Irumyuui more than ever, because even in her case, she was used somehow before becoming part of the Genja group. So I think that Weko was the one and only who could feel Irumyui's pain, who could understand how much she was used. And that's why Weko couldn't accept everything that happened to Irumyuui, because she was feeling guilty for the things that she also experienced, and that's something crazy. And in fact, you see that when Juroimo is attacking, all these sticky black shadows that are the creatures who couldn't make it, the creatures of Irumyuui that couldn't make it, you understand as if Irumyuui still wants to protect Weko also by doing this. Because if Irumyuui, thanks to those shadows, can destroy him, it's a way also to let Weko be free from her sadness, from her pain and whatsoever. So by the fact that Irumyuui can sense Weko thanks to signals, I think that Irumyuui and Weko are one thing only now. They can both feel what they are feeling. And that's really amazing, because it will be really useful, actually. And I also believe that Juroimo wanted to catch Weko instead, but he couldn't. That's why I was happy for that. Thank you, Vasukian, in this case. I also think that it's also thanks to Irumyuui that Weko could survive throughout all these years in that village over there. So as you can see, Juroimo doesn't want the kids to go away, so he's going to close all the doors that are enable people, or anyway, things to go inside the village. Ma-san is requested to help Riko. I really like Ma-san, and look, if there could have been the chance for her to join Riko, I would have liked it, because Riko needs fellows like Ma-san, and Ma-san did it spontaneously. I mean, she or he wanted to save Riko without even being asked. That's a real thing, and that's why I hope that she or he will join Riko and all the others in the case they are able to go out from the village somehow. Once again, Reg doesn't know what to do, and he really wanted to go now to give to Juroimo a piece of a Faputa, so probably he could have stopped everything that he was causing. But once again, Weko is warning him, and he's saying, no, the problem is not you, the problem is me, because he's attached to me. Faputa doesn't really matter in these, or you can't stop anything that it's caused right now, thanks to that. So I really like Weko's honesty. I really like the fact that she keeps warning these guys that are facing this adventure, and I really like even the way in which she was screaming, because after such a long time that she was just supposed to sing a little bit to those creatures, and she couldn't even talk for 150 years, she could find the strength in her voice to scream out loud and to help Reg in what he was doing. That was really awesome, because even for these, you understand that Weko is a good character too, because she's so human. She made lots of mistakes, but she's trying to repair all her mistakes by doing something good instead. And then once again, Rico seems to be in danger, so Reg, he's speeding up, he really wants to find a solution, he is anxious because he doesn't know what to do anymore, because if he is using the incinerator, it means that Faputa is coming, but at the same time, if he uses the incinerator, he's afraid that he can throw this incinerator to somebody, and that means going against Rico's will, that means to help the village to survive. So I can feel Reg, because he wants to help everyone, but he can't. I mean, you can't always be perfect to everyone. There is one thing you have to choose. Or you destroy the village, or you help it to survive. But anyway, you have to make a choice. You can't stay in the middle. Reg sends this incinerator, he's using it, but at least he is sure that behind the Geronimo there is nobody. There is no other hollow, so Rico and all the others are safe, and he's not going to harm Hollows. And this was so great. At least it was a compromise. But at the end of the day, he's breaking the walls of this village. It means that he's keeping the promise that he made to Faputa. And Faputa is appearing. Faputa can enter right now, because that barrier is not making her feel inside a cage anymore. Now there is a new opening, and once again, Reg broke the laws of a netherworld. So he was keeping the promise, and Faputa is so happy for that, because since the moment she's appearing after this hole is created, even if Geronimo is trying to attack Faputa once again, Faputa in 1 second is going to defeat him. So she's super strong. Yeah, sorry, I forgot one thing. Before Faputa appears, Reg, after sending this incinerator, he knows that he's going to sleep for 2 hours now, and there is a huge risk, because Nanachi is over there next to Bella. The only way to protect Rico is let her feel surrounded by hollows that can protect her as much as she was protecting them in the previous episodes. So at least Reg knows that Mugi, Majikaja and Masan are on her side and can protect her while he's sleeping. So I can't wait to see if Reg can memorize something else, that he can recollect some data from what he is missing, especially while he is sleeping. So probably before waking up, he can remember another flashback or something like that. I can't wait. But at the same time, now Rico is by herself. She knows that she can be helped even by Prushka, but if she's going to use Prushka, I don't think that Reg is waking up, because after the incinerator, he can't. At least she's surrounded by those hollows in the meantime. And I really like how Reg is trying to say sorry to her, because of course he agrees what Rico is saying, but he can also understand Faputa. So he is just explaining why he had to do something like this. Of course it was to protect Rico, but at the same time he has to spill out the truth. He has to say that Faputa now is coming based on the promise they made, so she can enter and she can destroy the village. I mean, she can go inside her mom once again, because the village is Irumyuui. I like his honesty, I like the way in which he was trying to explain things, even if he was pretty sad and there was no other choice rather than doing so. I really liked that moment, because I really know the others could understand what was going on, and even if he was offering this part of Faputa to Mugi and all the others to protect Rico, they can feel how Reg feels about Rico. They can understand how important Rico is for him, and that's why they decided to help him. That was really, really awesome, because once again, you understand that Rico is a bridge. That thanks to Rico, there is a communication between Reg and the Hollows, or between Rico and the Hollows. I also noticed that when Faputa is appearing, the interference unit are trying to defend her, but at the same time, Faputa is telling them, especially after she's saying what she's saying, she's looking at the interference unit and she's saying, "Don't interfere." That was really nice, because once again, you understand that the interference unit are supposed to interfere, to stop something or someone by doing something in particular. So I really feel the REG and all the interference units have this purpose to stop, to interfere, to change things, to make events in a different way. And that's why I was surprised to see that she was stopping them and she was saying, please don't interfere this time. And on top of one of the interference unit, I could see this symbol of this human being turned upside down or something. That is one of the symbols that Faputa was putting on that drawing on Rico. Do you remember? That was the symbol that was on Rico in the drawing, and I still don't understand what that means, sincerely, because that interference unit was having that symbol, and at the same time, Rico has an interference unit too next to her that is REG. Really interesting. It's like as if Rico and Faputa are the same, more or less, because Faputa has her interference unit next to her, and at the same time Rico has an interference unit next to her too, that is REG. So this chance to meet will be awesome in my opinion. And then Faputa appears and she's starting her speech. Look, I want to praise this because the way in which they describe the Faputa while she's talking, that's amazing. How she's opening these eyes and she's starting changing her voice based to what she has to say. That was really awesome. I really liked that moment, sincerely. I really liked even the way in which she's drawn, because you can see the anger, the depression, the suffering, the will to avenge, this anger that is more important than anything. And you understand that the moment has come, the moment of revenge, the moment in which there's nothing else rather than understand what's going to happen now. And Faputa was an evil character in this case. Yeah, you could see her evil side. And then Faputa is starting her last speech before attacking. She is saying that she can't forgive them at all. She can't stand them anymore. She can't forgive those hungry eyes they have because, of course, they always wanted to gain more and more and more to survive. She can't forgive even their mouths that every time were used to make prayers and to eat Irumyuui. She can't stand their forms because that's how they are because of Irumyuui and because they were saved by her. She can't forgive the fact that they are living longer than her mom and they are safer than her. She will never forgive their intentions of everything that happened. That means to use somebody in order to be saved. She will never forget even their existence, and she's ready to turn them into dust immediately. Sometimes I thought that that was Irumyuui talking through Faputa, because as soon as she was opening her eyes, I thought that that was her actually, especially because throughout this speech she was also using her own name, that means Faputa. And I also noticed that Weko, as soon as she appeared, she said Irumyuui or Iru, something like that, as if she was talking through her daughter. But then, of course, when she was mentioning her mom, I understood that that was a Faputa for real. She's also threatening them because she's saying that they don't have a time to escape. I mean, all these things that are well described thanks to her face, to her eyes, to her tone of the voice, all the anger is well explained. And when she's descending a little bit over there after there was that opening, you see the contrast of light between this light behind the Faputa and all this darkness on the side of the hollows, this contrast that is perfectly matching what's going to happen next. That means that this village can be destroyed, and then the last attack when Faputa is trying to attack them. And that's why I was thinking that sooner or later Rico is going to stop her, definitely, because REG is impossible to be there because he's sleeping. Nanachi is still with the Belaf, so that's why I'm saying that now it's a chance for Rico to talk to her and to explain her everything that is going to happen. She is going to explain her that they can find a compromise or something, even if there's no excuse for their behavior, as much as there is no way to bring Irumyuui back as before. So anyway, Faputa is going to lose, because even if she is trying to avenge her mom can't go back as before. And if she's going to destroy the village, she's going to destroy even her mom. So is that what she really wants? I mean, she wants to free her mom because by destroying the village she can finally rest in peace. If that's the case, I can understand. But if she thinks that by destroying the village she can go back, she can find Irumyuui back as before, there's no way that this is going to happen. And yeah, this contrast, light versus darkness, one against all the other one, it was really heavy. Last but not least, the last scene is when Nanachi explains what she was dreaming, and I think that dream was conveyed to her thanks to Irumyui's vision of all the story. The fact that she was so innocent to trust all of them, especially Vasukian. In fact, she was talking about Vasukian specifically, not about Belaf, for example. But she was depending on him, and then she was helping them by becoming the tour guide until they find their treasure, she says. That is the way to survive thanks to her. The Dominion, this a new place where to live, and the only one who was sacrificed here was herself. But I really liked that when Nanachi is waking up, she really thinks that that was a dream. But thanks to that opening that even the cave of Belaf had, that means that everything is changing because Belaf couldn't go out. You know that, and thanks to the opening that was made by Reg, things are going to change now, because Nanachi is going to understand that that was not a dream, that now she's in danger too, because she belongs to Belaf now, and everything that she was dreaming really happened. So Nanachi could face the same story, but that story was said and was narrated by Irumyuui and not by Ueko to her. So we have the chance to see different characters that are getting in touch with the same story told by others, by different characters. And even Belaf could see the light after such a long time. So this contrast between light and darkness keeps going ahead. Nanachi was kept asleep also thanks to darkness, because she didn't know. And she was just too instinctive to think about Mitty only, but there is a huge thing that is happening except for that. And the way in which this light is going inside of the cave now, it's telling you that something is going to change, that finally there is no need of darkness anymore in order to feel comfortable, but even light can make you feel something like this. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen next, in the next episode, the next week, because Nanachi is going back to normal now. She's awakened now, and she can definitely do something, because she's no more under that spell. And Reg, once again, changed the things. Now it's Riko's turn. Let's see if she can talk to her. I can't wait for that too. Okay guys, this was an incredible episode. Once again, I want to say this. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for joining me with this other huge video. But I hope to see you next week with episode 10 of season 2 of Made in Abyss. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep subscribing to the channel and click on the notification bell. Bye guys, see you in the next video.